Hello, and welcome to your work from home yoga class or your working at a desk all day yoga break. Whether or not you work at a desk in an office or from home, we just spend so much time nowadays sitting hunched over in a chair, looking down at technology, at our phone. And this class is meant to really help you sort of wake up those parts of the body and sort of take the opposite movement and release really the head and the neck, the upper shoulders, open the chest region, and provide some relief around the hip and leg area. So I hope you enjoy, and you can start off by getting a couple of blocks if you have them. Otherwise, you can take a couple other household items that are sturdy for under your hands, and then just come on down to your mat and start in a lying down position, a shavasana position. So come all the way down, feet out long and wide, arms out to the side. And perhaps if it feels safe to you, you can begin to close your eyes. And just start to notice what's going on inside today. In this moment, just the quality of your emotions, the sensations present in your body. Just noticing, taking a physical, mental, emotional weather check, and then getting a moment to be familiar with your internal world. And then start to notice the quality of your breath today, noticing where you feel it in your body most. No judging, just observing and seeing what you find there. So healing to just notice our breath and notice what we feel internally before we begin to change and control. So now starting to maybe lengthen and deepen those breaths. Feeling the breath expand your belly, expand your rib cage, and expand up into the chest. And allow yourself to expand a little bit more into the back space of your body as you let the weight of your bones just relax onto the earth. We'll take two more deep breaths like that. Inhaling full and completely, and exhaling fully and completely. With every exhale, letting your attention drop down into this connection with your body, into this connection with the earth. One more breath, filling up. And as you exhale, letting your awareness drop down right here into this moment, time and space. Beautiful. And then just take your arms overhead with your next inhale. And keeping your shoulders and your hips pinned onto the mat, just walk your feet over to the right, off the edge of your mat. And then also walk your hands over to the right. So coming into a banana pose or a crescent pose here, you might cross one foot over the other, hooking it, and keeping your left side body pinned down to the earth. Just breathe into your left side body, finding a little bit more space in that rib cage, in between each of your bones, feeling a sense of expansion. One more breath there. And as you exhale, walking yourself back to center, just over to the other side. So feet come off the mat to the left, hands follow, keeping your middle body, your center, right where it is. Perhaps switching the cross of your foot or the grip of your wrist. Feeling into that right side body, taking a deep breath in to find more space to expand. One more breath. And then exhale your way back to center. Hug your knees into your chest. Taking a little roll on the side, on your low back. Giving yourself a nice big squeeze, a nice hug, a little love and care. Available to you right here at any time. Release the soles of the feet down to the earth and your hands to your side. Take a couple of pelvic tilts. So just notice where the position of your pelvis is right now in relation to the mat, how the position of your low back is in relation to the mat. And see if you can press the low back more down into the earth as you tilt the tailbone up to the sky, tilting the pelvis back. And then opposite direction, tilting tailbone down toward the earth, finding a little bit more space between your low back and the mat, tilting your pelvis forward. And a couple times like that, just noticing what's going on here in this region, really isolating this tiny little region, taking these really subtle movements into your pelvis. And notice maybe taking note of where you usually tend to hold your pelvis. And from here, trying to find neutral, whatever that means to you. For many of us, that's drawing the tailbone a little bit more toward our heels. And from there, once you find neutral, you draw your navel toward your spine. You can start to lift up, pressing into the soles of your feet, and pressing your hips up to the sky to find a bridge pose. Keep your knees tracking over your toes, right over your heels. And then reach your arms up overhead so the backs of your hands come to the earth below you. Take a deep breath in, pressing down. And then exhale, lower your hips down to the mat at the same time that your palms come back down to the sides of your waist, your hips. And a couple more times like that. Inhale, pressing up to bridge pose, lifting the heart toward the chin, reaching the arms up and overhead. And the exhale, releasing back down. Moving with the rhythm of your breath. Inhale, reach it up. Pressing down through your feet, dynamic bridge. And exhale, release it all back down. Good. Leaving your hips now on the mat, reach your arms up overhead. Just roll yourself onto your side, onto your upper arm, pressing your hand into the mat, and slowly melting yourself up to a seat. Beautiful. Come into a nice, comfortable seated position, whatever that is for you. Maybe propping your bum up on a block or some blankets. Moving down through your sit bones and finding a tall spine. Bring your hands onto your heart and just press firmly down. And then tilt the chin up toward the corner of the room. And then shine the underside of that jaw that's facing forward just up to the sky. As you gently press down on your heart, feel into this underside of your chin, of your neck, maybe even gently moving your chin side to side. Feeling into the stretch, breathing into the stretch. I call this one the Joey from Friends. Hey, how you doing? One more breath here. And then gently coming back to center and switching the cross of your hands. And then shining your chin up toward the opposite side of the room, the opposite corner diagonally from you. As you shine that front jaw up toward the sky, firmly but gently pressing down on your heart. And perhaps taking some gentle movement as you breathe. And coming back to neutral, take your hands to the back of your head, to the nape of your neck, interlace them, and then draw your elbows forward. From now, there, let your chin rest down onto your chest. Lean forward slightly, allowing your elbows to just really hang out right there. Putting a little bit of weight, a little bit of pressure on your head to find a nice stretch through the back of the neck. And you might even once again shift the chin side to side a couple times. Remembering to breathe. Slowly release your hands and lift your head back up. Inhale, reach your arms up and over. Exhale, twist to one side. Inhale, reaching the arms back up. Exhale, twisting to the other side. Inhale, reaching arms back up. One more time to each side. Exhale, twist. Breathing over your shoulder. Inhale, twist it back up. Reaching up, gathering your breath. Exhale, twist one more time. And then inhale back up to center. Exhale, your arms float down and back behind you. Interlace the hands. And just bring that wrist, that fist, all the way around to one side of your waist. From there, draw your elbows together and drop your ear down to your shoulder to the side that your fist is on. And just feel, once again, that stretch through the neck. Inhale back to center, extending the fist back behind you. And then exhale, hooking the wrist and the fist all the way around to the other side of your waist. And dropping the ear down toward the fist. Breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in and breathing out. Slowly reaching back to center. And then just take your arms out in front of you. Spread your fingers wide. And then curl those fingers in together, creating a tight fist with your thumb on the outside and flexing your fist down. Deep breath here, feeling that flex, feeling that holding, that tensing coming all the way up into your forearms. And then extend your fingers out and shoot your hands out like some shooting stars. I call these ones shooting stars. And then again, moving with your breath, squeeze those fists down and shoot the stars out. And you can take this movement at any pace that you need, noticing that the faster it goes, the more you might start to feel it in your forearms, the more intense it might get. This is a really great strengthening and stretching exercise for the wrists. It's helped me a lot over the years. And especially if you're typing on a computer all day, this can be a really, really nice way to release. And as you shoot your fingers out, just imagining like throwing out, throwing away anything, any tension, anything that you don't need, anything that you don't need to be holding right now. Let's give it just a few more of these, breathing through it. And release. Come on to your hands and knees, forward into tabletop position. Starting off with a couple cat-cows, dropping the belly down, lifting the chin and the tailbone up to the sky. Hands under the shoulders, knees into the hips. As you exhale, rounding the spine, curling chin to chest, tailbone in, gazing through your legs. As you inhale, dropping the belly, looking up. And as you exhale, rounding the spine, pressing down through your palms and the tops of your feet. And inhaling to look up. And exhaling for cat pose. And finding from here any organic movement that feels good for you. Perhaps taking some big circles with the rib cage around the spine, big barrel rolls, or taking big circles around your heels. Maybe even getting into the hips, the shoulders, more into the neck. Taking the next 10 or so seconds to just feel into your own body. And find what feels good and let your body move you. Hopefully you're in the comfort of your own home where you just get to do whatever feels pleasing. Slowing down, gazing forward, and then walking your hands forward with the hips staying over the knees. You can slowly, gently start to relax your heart and head down to the mat. You might relax your forehead down onto the mat and just take a couple of rolls side to side between your brows, massaging your third eye or your wisdom center, Ajna chakra, your intuitive center. And some of you might be able to rest your chin on the mat and gaze forward. Wherever you're at, really allowing your heart to melt down into the mat, Anahata asana, or heart melting pose, otherwise known as puppy pose. Feeling into this back bend, into your front body, sinking down to the earth, bowing down to Mother Earth, and perhaps taking a moment to honor this land that you're on and acknowledge anyone who tended to that land before you. For me, it is the Pomo and Miwok Native people I'd like to acknowledge. And from there, lifting up, slowly shifting forward and shifting all the way down onto your belly, lowering the hips down to the earth. Bringing the hands under the shoulders, pressing the tops of the feet into the earth, sending the tailbone down toward the heels, pressing the pelvis into the mat. Inhale and lift the upper chest and head all the way off the earth, keeping the low ribs attached. Small baby cobra here, Bhujangasana. Exhale, release it down. Again, like that, inhaling, pressing up through your hands. Maybe arms come a little bit more straight. Perhaps you lift the rib cage off the floor now. And exhale, release it down. And curl your toes under and lift your hips up and back through child's pose up to downward facing dog. Once you get there, taking a couple of breaths to pedal it out. Wiggle your hips, bend your legs, walk the dog. Spreading your fingers wide, pressing in through the palms, the knuckles, the finger pads. Feet about hip-width distance apart. Start to find a little softness through your shoulders and the tops of your back. Finding a little bit more space through the sides of your neck. Then bending into your knees as much as you need to find a long spine. Releasing the spine down into the head. Release the head and neck. Maybe nodding yes and no. And sending the tailbone up to the sky. And the heart toward thighs. One more breath like this. And then stepping the right foot behind the left. Staying in your downward facing dog and just taking a moment in this little side stretch. And pressing down a little bit more firmly through your right hand. Feel that stretch in the side body, the right side body. And then shifting forward, shoulders over wrist. You can lower down the left knee if you need. Or you can go ahead and start to pour your weight onto the left hand. And turn to your side for a side plank, Vashisthasana, reaching the right fingertips up to the sky, feeling your core turn on the center line of your body, lifting the left side waist in and up. And then exhale, release it back down. And lower the knees down to the mat. And step your right foot up to the outside of your right hand. Good. Coming into our low lunge, Anjaneyasana, start to walk your right foot over toward the left side of your mat. And you might bring blocks to help you here. So walk your right foot all the way to the left side of your mat, maybe even off the mat. And bring your blocks or your hands to the right side of your leg, so the outside of that foot. From there, you're going to shift your hips back and straighten out that front leg, and then tilt those toes up toward the sky to come into a flexed foot and a little different version of Ardha Hanumanasana or half splits. That helps us get into the IT band here. So keeping a long spine as much as possible, perhaps lowering your heart a little bit more down toward the earth. Notice if your hips are just wanting to fall over to the left, can you reposition them so that your left hip is stacked over your left knee? And taking a couple more deep breaths here, feeling into this IT band. And then slowly start to walk your hands back forward, bend into that front knee, and walk your right foot over toward the right side of the mat. This time, your toes are going to face a little bit off the mat to the right, to the front right corner. And you bring your hands up to your waist and shift your hips back a little bit to, again, find that length through your tailbone. Press your pelvis forward into neutral and maybe bring that stretch a little bit more into your left hip flexor. And with your knee facing the same direction as your toes and the toes facing to the front right, you're going to start to once again sit back down and forward into that stretch. So this stretch will help you get a little bit more into the psoas. So you can keep your hands on your hips. You can reach your arms up. And just 3 deep breaths here. And bringing your hands back down to the earth, moving gently. Just start to walk that right foot all the way off toward the right side of your mat and lower the hips all the way down toward the earth. Again, coming down, and your right leg stays at a 90-degree angle as you start to rest your upper body down into the earth. And again, you can rest your forehead down, or you can keep yourself lifted on your forearms, stretching into this inner right thigh, this inner right hip. Just a nice hip opener here, Ardha Mandukasana, half frog. And giving this one a few breaths. And if you're at home, this is a great posture to bring a blanket under your knee as well. Deepen that stretch a little bit more. So slowly come back onto your hands, lift yourself up, and bring that knee back up to center. You can come back into your tabletop, take a couple of cat-cows, a couple of wiggling of the hips side to side, and find whatever poses or movements you need to re-center yourself and re-neutralize. And then we'll curl the toes under, lift the hips up and back for your downward facing dog. Finding a bit of movement and then coming towards stillness. Once you find stillness, with a little soft bend in your elbows, you don't want to lock out the arms. Soft bend in the back of the knees, keeping the spine long. And then cross your left foot behind the right. Moving back into our little side body stretch, pressing down more firmly through the left hand. Breathing there. And then start to shift forward. Shoulders come over the wrists. You can lower the right knee down if you need, but keeping the feet crossed. Start to pour your weight onto your right hand and bring the left hand to your waist or up to the sky for your Vashisthasana side plank. Pressing down into the mat as you reach for the sky. Lift yourself up, rooting down as you rise up. Hugging in and up through the right side waist. Feeling your power, feeling your strength. And exhale, left hand comes back down with control, shifting back over. And uncrossing the feet, lowering down the knees, and stepping the left leg forward. Stepping the left foot up, grab onto your blocks if you need them, and start to walk your left foot over toward the right edge of your mat. So you know where we're going now. You'll bring both hands to the outside of that leg or toward the left side and start to shift your hips back, flexing the toes. And again, noticing here, if your hips are falling over to the right side, can you re-square them in the center so that your right hip stays over your right knee? Keep pressing out through the outer edge of that left foot as you draw your heart toward the earth on the left side. You want to find a nice position here where it gets into your IT band and you really feel that stretching outside of your left leg. So just a couple of more deep breaths here. Sending that breath into any spaces of your body that really need it right now. Noticing where you can soften a little bit more. And slowly walking back to center. Using your blocks to help you come back to center. Anjaneyasana, low lunge, this time with the left foot facing out to the left. So you're going to walk that left foot back over toward the left edge of your mat, maybe even off the mat, and turn the toes out just slightly. From there, you can bring your hands back up to your waist. Send your hips back to create more space here and find that neutral pelvis. And then from there, you can start to feel that stretch come a little bit more into your front right hip flexor. And with the knee going the same direction as the toes, you can now start to shift forward and sit down into that posture. You might raise your arms up overhead. You might keep them at the heart or on the waist. Wherever you're at is perfect and is what your body needs today. So breathing here, feeling the stretch in the psoas. These deep inner muscles of the core that extend from our pelvis into our spine, our low back. Something that gets really tight from sitting all day. One more breath. And slowly lifting and shifting back up. And you might start to use the blocks to help you come forward. Otherwise, you'll start to walk that left leg off the mat to the left and lower your hips all the way down to the earth. Left leg stays bent in a 90-degree angle. You might bring a blanket under your left knee and you can lower the upper body all the way down. Your head can rest on the earth or you can stay upright on your forearms. And allow your hips to just melt down into the earth here. Letting yourself soften down. Couple of deep breaths in this half frog pose, the Ardha Mandukasana. And then slowly start to lift back up onto your hands. Bring your knee back into center and take any little movements here that you need to reset. As you're moving and kind of following the wisdom of your own body and what it needs in this moment, start to dance your way up into a downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. And once you get there, again, allowing yourself to dance around as needed or starting to find stillness. Then we'll start to dance our way up toward the top of our mat. You might cross one foot over the other, mindfully walking, hopping, or jumping, whatever you're in the mood for today. Bring your feet all the way under your hips and take a forward fold Uttanasana. Relaxing head and neck completely over the legs. And with your whole upper body really relaxing on the thighs, bending the knees generously, we'll take the palms of the hands under the feet, under the soles of the feet. So the back of the hands to the earth, palms of the hands to touch the soles of the feet, and step onto your hands if you can. Once you get there, walk your feet all the way up so that your toes are right at your wrists, and you can give yourself a nice little massage here with your toes. Massaging into the wrists. We forget we have this little self massage vehicle tool all the time right at our fingertips. So giving yourself a nice little love in the wrists. And then releasing gently with your breath, bending into the knees. Inhale and rising all the way up. Exhale, hands to heart center. And we'll reach the right foot, the right leg up to the sky and step it all the way back, stepping into a warrior two. So back toes are facing the long edge of the mat and your front toes are facing forward. You can start to sit down into your legs. Just feel into this strong, stable foundation, pressing down into the mat, inviting yourself to maybe sit a little deeper, making sure that the knees just going in the same direction, the toes, whatever that is, and your left sit bone is wrapping down toward the earth. With the arms here, we'll just take a couple big shoulder rolls, up, back, and down, and then switching direction, up, forward, and down. Just feeling that contrast between tensing all the way up to your ears and releasing down to the earth. You might even straighten, bend the legs as you move, allowing it to be a little bit more organic. And just feeling that energy tensing up, bringing up, and dropping back down to the mat. Now bring your right hand to your waist, and then drop your right ear down to that shoulder. And reach your left arm forward, your left hand forward. And again, just taking this little scalene release here, just gently swaying or floating this left arm side to side, forward and back. You can take a little subtle movement of the jaw and the head until you find a nice little scalene release through the side of your neck. And now reach the left fingertips up and back for your reverse peaceful warrior. And then exhale, reach your hands forward, straighten out that front leg, send the hips back in space, left arm comes down to your shin, the block, or the earth, reaching right fingertips up to the sky, and then turning the head up and down a couple of times, just noticing where it feels better to rest your gaze. Gently moving, and gently finding a comfortable home for your gaze. Then press down firmly into the left big toe mound so you find a little softness in the back of that left knee. Leaning a little bit more into your back body. Trikonasana, triangle pose. One more breath. And exhale, release the right hand down. Go ahead and step your back foot forward. And fold a couple of times, swaying side to side. You might even take your thumbs into your elbow creases. And really allow the upper body to hang out, your spine to pour down into your head to be nice and soft and relaxed. Then bend into your knees and inhale, rise all the way up. Exhale, hands down to heart center. Take the left knee up and step it all the way back, just a few feet into your warrior two to the other side. So turning the left toes out to the long edge of your mat, front toes facing forward, sit down into your front leg, draw the tailbone down, right sit bone wraps down and underneath, knee goes in the same direction as the toes. And again, finding these shoulder rolls a couple times in each direction. You might Kind of bend in and out of your front leg a couple of times as you feel what it feels like to tense everything up, and then drop it back down to the earth. Switching direction if you haven't already. Good, and then finding stillness, really bending deeply into that front leg if it feels comfortable for you. Bringing the left hand to the left waist, and then dropping the left ear down to the shoulder. Reaching the right arm out in front of you, and taking a little bit of subtle, gentle, exploratory movement here. Getting into that scalene, that right side neck. Noticing what you notice, feeling what you feel. Releasing where you can. Keep your legs rooting down, feeling that integrity, that strength in your legs. And start to reach your right arm up and back for your reverse warrior. Vibrant, strong back leg. One more breath. Inhale, reach your fingertips forward, straighten out the front leg, and reach your right hand all the way down to block your shin or the earth, reaching left fingertips up to the sky. Almost like you're ripping the mat apart. Imagine just pressing down to the mat, pushing away from each other, especially pushing down into that front right big toe mound. Keep a little softness in the back of that knee, and keep the legs engaged and active. Reaching up, sending your left shoulder back in space a little bit more, turning the heart up toward the sky. Trikonasana, triangle pose, leaning into your back body. Finding a little bit more of a lift here. One more breath. And then exhale, release both hands down to the ground. Bend into your front leg and step that back foot forward. And pedaling out your legs a couple of times. Bending forward and back. Reach the right fingertips up to the sky as you bend the left knee. Then back down to center. Inhale as you bend the right knee. Lift the left fingertips up to the sky, finding a twist. Exhale, back to center. Inhale one more time, each side twisting up to the sky. Exhale, down. Inhale, twisting up. Exhale, down. You bend the knees. Inhale, rise all the way up. Exhale, hands to heart center, and step that right foot back one more time. And this time with the right toes facing the front right corner. So we're coming into warrior one position with our hips facing a little bit more forward than to the side. So they're probably on the diagonal. You can bend down into your front leg. Reaching the arms up to the sky. Feel this strength and stability in your legs. Proud heart. Take a deep breath. And as you exhale, interlace the hands behind your back. Hinge forward from your hip creases and float that fist overhead. Relax the head and neck down to humble warrior. Left shoulder to the left knee. As you inhale, straighten out the front leg. Release the hands. You might have blocks under your hands here. And just finding a long spine, almost like a halfway lift. And exhale, release the head and neck and chest down toward the leg. Moving like that in a flow with the breath. Inhale, bend into your front knee. Scoop the arms up. Warrior one. Virabhadrasana one. Exhale, interlace the hands and fold from your hip creases. Humble warrior. On your inhale, straightening out that front leg. Halfway lift, pyramid. And exhale, fold, pyramid. Hasva Konasana. Inhale, reach the arms up, bend into the knee. Warrior one, Virabhadrasana one. Exhale, humble warrior. Diving down. Inhale, pyramid with a halfway lift. And exhale, fold, pyramid. And pausing there in pyramid, taking one more deep breath and stepping the back foot up to meet the right. And your feet are probably a little bit wider apart now. If they're not, you can widen them to the edges of your mat, bend into the knees, reach the arms up. And exhale, hands to heart center. And taking a couple big hip circles round in one direction and then the other. Just however big or small you want to take it. Call this one the SpongeBob. Bring it around town. Coming back to center. And from there, lifting the left leg up and stepping all the way back. 3 to 4 feet behind you. Left toes facing the front left corner of the mat. Setting up for your warrior one. So both toes relatively facing forward, hips relatively facing forward, back heel is down on the earth, and you can bend down into that front knee. Rooting down into your steady, stable foundation, a sense of sthira or steadiness in yoga. Inhale the arms up. Pausing here. Just feeling your breath, feeling into your strength, feeling into the center line of your body. Reaching up for the sky, rooting down as you rise up. And finding some sense of sweetness or ease within this sense of effort. Sweetness or ease being the sukha energy. On your next exhale, you can interlace your hands behind your back. This time, try to take the opposite cross. So it feels a little funky. Drawing the fist down to open the heart up. And then as you hinge forward from your hip creases, fold down, allow the fist to come overhead. Right shoulder comes to the right knee, humbling yourself. And as you inhale, you can straighten out that front leg. Maybe grab your blocks for a halfway lift. And exhale, fold. Keeping the spine long. Moving into our flow, making this your own moving meditation, bending into that front knee. Inhale, reaching the arms up. Exhale, crossing opposite direction and finding humble warrior. Diving forward. Inhale, halfway lift, straighten the front leg. Pyramid pose. And exhale, fold. Twice more with your breath. Inhale, reach to that warrior one. Exhale, humble warrior. Inhale, Parsvatanasana. And exhale, fold. Inhale, reach it up, rise up. Exhale, humbling, folding. Inhale, straighten the front leg. Reach the crown of the head forward. Exhale, fold. Pausing there in your pyramid. Little softness in your front knee. Allow yourself to relax down. And then step that back foot forward to meet the right. Bend into your knees a couple times. Shake it out. Inhale, bend into your knees. Rise all the way up. Exhale, hands to heart center. And then coming into a little balance posture here. Start to pour your weight onto the left foot. Lift up all those toes, spread them out, place them back down, and really feel all four corners of that left foot rooting down into the mat. You might even visualize roots growing down through your foot into the earth. Right foot bends. Right foot comes to a kickstand. Hands can start at the hips for now. You might start to bend a little bit into that left knee. Kind of coming into a chair pose. When you're ready, take your right ankle and cross it up and over onto your left knee. Keeping the left or the right foot flexed. Start to sit your hips down. So I'll show you from the front. Start to sit your hips down a little bit. And just keep a long spine. Only go as far down as you're able to. Stay balanced and keep your chest open and proud. And you might start to kind of send your right knee down a little bit more toward the earth. An option to take hold of your elbows behind your back to open the heart a little bit more. So what that looks like is this. Taking one more deep breath here in this balance. And you might release your hands, send them down to the earth or to blocks, and start to straighten out your left leg, keeping this figure four. Relax your head and neck down. And then exhale, release your foot, your leg. And pedaling out. Taking a nice comforting forward fold. And then bending into your knees and inhaling to rise back up. Exhale, hands again to heart center and come down to your waist. And start to pour your weight onto the right foot now. And lifting and lowering each of those toes. Find your balance. Bring awareness first into the sole of your foot and into this connection down into the earth, grounding down. Start to bend into your right knee and kickstand your left foot. And then bring your left ankle, once you feel rooted and stable, of course you can always use a wall or some props to help you on this one. Start to bring your left ankle up onto your right knee and bend down a little bit more into your chair or figure four. Then send your right knee down toward the earth as you sit your hips down. And maybe you take hold onto opposite elbows behind your back to keep your heart lifting and opening. Sitting down, engaging your hamstrings, getting a nice deep hip opener. Hold it here and don't forget your breath. Notice if you're still breathing. Can you find a little sense of ease in this effort and in this stability, or maybe not so stability? Maybe you're falling all over the place, and that's fine too. Every day our balance is different. Notice where you can soften and where you can maybe bring a smile. Release your hands down, perhaps finding a forward fold, straightening out that right leg. And just whenever you're ready, releasing the left foot, pedaling out the legs. Let's inhale and take a halfway lift. Placing the hands to the shins, reaching the crown of the head forward. And exhale, fold. Inhale, bend into the legs and reach the arms all the way up. And exhale, fold all the way forward. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, plant the palms, step your feet back. And lower all the way down. You can lower the knees down first. And then the chest coming down into prone position. This time for our cobra, we'll take a little bit different. So bring your hands into a diamond shape or a triangle shape in front of a few inches in front of your face. And your elbows come out just about under your shoulders, maybe a little bit wider. Again, finding that long tailbone, pressing down into the mat with your pelvis. And you're going to press down into your hands to lift your elbows off the earth, finding a different version here of Bhujangasana Cobra. Lifting the head and the heart, but keeping the back of the neck long. One more breath. And exhale, lower back down. And popping the heels up to your bum, take hold onto the outsides of your feet. Resting your chin on the earth for now. And just for a nice deep thigh stretch, we will, on the inhale, lift everything up to the sky. Kick your feet out. And at the same time, pull your feet in with your hands, creating this resistance here, keeping your gaze down at the mat. And keep the back of your neck long. Keep breathing and keep lifting a little bit higher. One more breath. And exhale, release it down. Bring your hands under your shoulders, curl up onto your toes, and just bring your right knee forward to the right hand, to the right wrist, and your ankle just under your left hip crease. Extend your left leg back, top of the foot on the earth, and find an active pigeon here. Ekapara Raja Kapotasana. Keep the spine long. You might find down to a little bit of a back bend here. Squeezing the inner thighs toward each other. Lifting the heart. One more breath. And then exhale, fold down. Feeling into this outer hip stretch. Into the right glute. Relaxing head and neck all the way down to the mat. And for some of you, it might feel nicer to actually pour your weight onto your right hip. Just relax there. Couple deep breaths. Slowly bringing the hands back under the shoulders, coming onto your back toes to lift yourself up and create a little bit more space. And then just walking that right foot over toward the right edge of your mat to come down into a lizard pose. So again, you might stay up on your hands here, or you might bring blocks or come all the way down into your forearms to help you come down to the inside of that right leg, that right inner leg. Some people might like to roll onto the outer edge, that right foot, and press the knee away. Wherever you're at, settling in for 3 deep breaths in your lizard pose. You might even take a couple of subtle movements through your right hip crease. And then slowly come back onto your hands. And we're going to turn our toes, both toes, over toward the right. You might walk your right foot down a little bit more toward the center of your mat and turn your whole body open to the right, taking a little side plunge lunge here. You can allow your left side body to fully relax and your neck to, or your ear to fully rest on that left shoulder. Might even rest your right arm on your right knee, just allowing yourself to just come into this little goddess-like position. And I know we don't normally say it in yoga, we normally ask you to keep the head and neck lifting up and out of the shoulders, but this is a case where you're really allowed to just kind of rest down into your shoulder to feel that stretch more deeply through your left side body. Beautiful. One more breath. And then come back onto your hands and turn to face the back of your mat, keeping your legs crossed just as they are, with your right foot crossing over your left leg. And you can keep that left leg out long, or you can bring the heel in toward your right sit bone. And keep the left sole of the foot rooting down and hug that right knee into your chest. You might hug that knee into your chest with your left arm, and you might reach the arm up and over and start to find a twist over to the right. Hooking the elbow to the outside of that knee, or maybe just hugging in. Right hand kickstands back behind you, and you can start to spin your gaze past your right shoulder. With every inhale, lengthening the crown of the head up toward the sky, finding a little bit more length through your spine, a little bit more space between each vertebrae. And with every exhale, twisting a little bit deeper. And slowly untwisting on your inhale for a little more control. And send that left leg back out if it was bent. And we'll press down into the hands. And just place the sole of the left foot on the earth. Lift the hips up to the sky for one breath in this figure four. Feel that stretch through your upper arms. Release it back down. Release the foot back down to your tabletop. Reverse table. Inhale, lift the hips up to the sky. And exhale, release back down. And then we'll once again float the left ankle on top of the right knee. And lift the hips up, just like your figure four that we did standing. And exhale, release it down. This time finding your twist on this side. So you can extend that right foot all the way out long. Or you can bring that heel in toward your bum as you place the sole of the left foot on the earth. Root down first and then hug that knee into your chest, lifting the heart and the chest up, lifting the crown and the head up to the sky. Start to come into your twist. Find your twist, whatever version works best for you. Kickstanding left fingertips behind you. Hugging in, keeping that heart lifted. Notice here if you're slouching down into your back body, can you keep lifting up and finding more space along your spine? Inhaling to lengthen, exhaling to twist a little bit deeper, letting your gaze lead the twist. One more breath. And slowly on your inhale, coming back to center, extending that right foot back out long, and then turning toward the long edge of your mat now toward your right. And again, taking this little plunge lunge. So you're kind of sitting along this whole long edge, the whole side of your body with with both toes facing toward the long edge of your mat. And you can start to just chill out here and relax down into your right shoulder socket, allowing the whole right side body to just release and relax. Maybe resting the arm on the knee. I call this the side plunge lunge. One more breath in your little goddess pose. Then bringing the hands back toward the front of the mat, lifting back to center onto your knee to step that left foot all the way up to the outside of your left hand or the edge of your mat. So you come down into your comfortable lizard pose. So wherever that was for you, maybe up on your hands, maybe down on your forearms. And maybe taking some subtle movement in your left hip crease. Rolling onto the outer edge of your left foot. Find stillness here for 3 breaths. Beautiful. And then start to walk that left foot back through center and over toward the right hand so that you can lower down the knee and the shin. Bring the right hip down toward the heel. And again, you can always, the option here to just rest your weight all the way over onto that left hip, or you might square your hips down to the mat. Find an active pigeon first, so squeezing the inner thighs together, squeezing the legs together, getting really long and proud. Feeling your whole body active, little back bend here. And on your next exhale, walking your hands forward, coming all the way down to rest. You might once again take that little massaging of the space between the brows, your Ajna chakra, intuitive center. And starting to breathe into your left hip, your left glute. Finding stillness, settling in. Few more deep breaths. Allowing your body to melt, allowing gravity to do its work here on your body. letting yourself soften. Your skin soften the surface. Your muscles beneath that softening down. Your bones starting to just soften down into the earth. Just where you started from. Right where you came from. One more breath in your pigeon pose. And then coming back onto your hands. And just rolling onto your left side waist. And taking any final movements that you need, if that's coming through a down dog or a child's pose. Otherwise, you can take your soles of your feet together, knees out wide. You might even bring blocks under your knees here to help support you and allow for an even deeper stretch through your muscles, yet at the same time protecting your ligaments and joints. So I invite you into a Supta Baddha Konasana, or reclined goddess position, reclined bound angle. Of course, you can always end your practice in a seated meditation or a normal Shavasana with your arms and your legs spread out to the sides. Wherever you're at, wherever you choose to spend your final few minutes, where I will leave you to stay for as long as you're able to. Just allow your body to be easy and soft and passive for once. Allowing everything to relax and surrender, including your mind. And anytime your mind starts to wander off, just bringing it back to your breath, bringing it back to the sensations in your body. And just allowing yourself to be still. Spend a little bit of time in stillness and in silence. Please stay for as long as you can. I hope you had a wonderful practice and can take this connection with you into the rest of your day. Thank you so much for practicing with me. Namaste.